Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today. My name's David. This channel is Damar's Coaching. This video is about borderline personality disorder. I've made many videos about this topic. If you're interested in watching more, you can check out the playlist, Borderline Personality Disorder. Today's video, I want to get into a little bit of what happens to people with this disorder if left untreated. I know a lot of people with this disorder watches my videos. Welcome. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this. And the rest of you watching because you have someone in your life or had someone in your life with this disorder. You want to understand it better. Some of you may have someone in your life now with this disorder and you're not sure what to do. And I understand that. It's very complicated, very difficult. There is a ton of misinformation out there about this disorder. But I think what's even worse maybe is the lacking of information about this disorder, just not talked about, and the stigmas attached to this disorder. Awful. Most personality disorders are undiagnosed and untreated. I believe that. I may have somebody else that may not agree with that, but I truly believe that. There's reasons for that, but borderline especially, most are undiagnosed and untreated. It's supposed to be about the same numbers in men and women, but obviously women seek treatment more than men. So you'll have more women diagnosed with this disorder than men, and probably because men seek treatment less, okay, for mental health. Borderline personality disorder can be diagnosed at any age, which is more rare than the other personality disorders. You have antisocial personality disorder, your sociopaths and psychopaths, most of them fall into that disorder. And it cannot be diagnosed, can't diagnose someone until they're at least 18, which means antisocial personality disorder is something that develops in adulthood, while borderline personality disorder is something that is developed in childhood. Now, here's something I've never heard anywhere else, anybody else say. But one possibility for a child who meets the requirements for borderline personality disorder could be diagnosed as and does not seek treatment can actually develop antisocial personality disorder in adulthood. So a child could have conduct disorder before 15, be diagnosed with borderline personality disorder at 16, and then develop into what we know as a sociopath in their 20s. Okay? Very serious, very, very, very serious disorder. Borderline personality disorder, a personality disorder that's characterized by overly emotional, dramatic, and unpredictable thinking and behavior, also with self-image issues and problems. The cause isn't exactly sure. Doctors aren't exactly sure, but we know it's very common in family history. And so we can attribute that to genetics, sure, predisposition, but I believe it's more cyclical, a family cycle, much like alcoholism. Alcoholism, as we know, we can be, you take Native American Indians who drink so much for so long that they are more inclined to have a bad reaction to alcohol and become alcoholics more than the rest of us. I think that's kind of similar to borderline, where we could have more neurosis in our family, and there might be people more with borderline, but I truly believe that, like alcoholism, it is a cycle that repeats itself generation after generation as a alcoholic parent that abuses, neglects the child uses alcohol like the parent to cope, and that continues. I think that's much more accurate when talking about borderline. I believe that these are major factors because who somebody becomes, what makes us, forms us, our personality, would be our genetics, our family, being raised, how we're raised, our environment, and our culture. And I think when it comes to personality disorders, especially borderline, I think that how we were raised by our family is huge, more than 50%. And then I think there's another portion of family genetics, but small. And I think culture is very, very small. Lots of people untreated. And I think it's because of shame. People being ashamed of their behaviors or what's wrong with them and seeking that help must be difficult. Stigma. People believing that personality disorders isn't a biological issue, and it most certainly is. And the stigma, according to personality disorders, is awful, right? Starting right with the one I used last, is antisocial. And what I said earlier, there's just not enough information. There just isn't enough. Doctors don't talk about it enough. I hear them say that. I've had conversations with psychiatrists and psychologists that are just, they seem oblivious. And I know they were taught it somewhat in their education. Oblivious. I can't tell you the amount of professionals I've heard, just countless, say that narcissists are so rare you'll never meet one. Well, if they exist, someone's got to meet them. Why can't it be me? No. They're so rare, it can't be you. Almost like getting struck by lightning, so rare, no one ever is. It's like, that's a great way to go into the field to help people, right? If anybody has been, then they're coming to see you, and you're saying, oh, nobody does. BPD can get better in time. That doesn't mean that you will. It can get, and it doesn't mean that we're cured and that problems are all better. But it can go into remission. Most mental illness gets better with age, in time. Not exactly sure why. We know that we learn more how to interact with people and get what we want, need, communicate, things like this. And our hormones tend to regulate a little better as we get older, hopefully. Treatment, just to let you guys know. And this is not exclusive to people with this disorder. Most of you watching could probably benefit from one of these types of therapy. Cognitive behavioral. Then there's dialectical behavioral. So you got CBT and DBT, and then mentalization-based therapy, which has had immense success with people with borderline personality disorder. Talk therapy or psychotherapy and medications. Antidepressants, antipsychotics, anti-anxiety, mood stabilizers. And they teach mindfulness, tolerating distress, regulating our emotions, navigating through relationships better. That is what's important. Those things. Not in time, I'm not so anxious after 15, 20 years. When I'm finally 55, 60, I finally don't feel so bad. That's not the goal, right? We want success in relationships. People with personality disorders can't understand that. And that's what makes something very difficult to work towards if you don't know what it is. People that have had a lifetime of drugs find it very difficult to understand a life without them and the benefits of that. Having a personality disorder, especially borderline, means other illnesses and disorders. You could have, BPD could be your base, and you could have all these other things, but it's almost always you have other problems. Anxiety, depression, addictions, PTSD, eating disorders, dissociative disorders, obsessive compulsive disorder, bipolar, and many more. Many, many more. Common. Very. Typical. Relationship difficulties, intense inappropriate anger, suicidal ideation, fear of abandonment issues. Major in borderline. If left untreated, expect, if you're borderline, and expect you have someone in your life to see this and also be affected by relationship troubles, job loss, hospitalization due to self-harm, stress, stress-related illness, the S word, SUA. Can't say it on here. It's illegal. Self-sabotaging. Good luck having a relationship with someone that self-sabotages themselves. You will lose yourself. You will lose your life. You will lose this relationship that you are fully invested in. Feeling unsteady and other illnesses. Stress-related illness, cancer, things like that. Most enter remission in 10 years, and very few relapse under therapy. Under therapy. Great success in 1 year to 2 years, a lot. And definitely most enter remission within 10 years, with very few ever having a relapse. Pretty hopeful there. No excuse. Though social functioning issues remain. I want to be very clear about something, because I see this a lot. I'm in therapy. I'm getting help. I know I'm diagnosed. My disorder. These aren't reasons to allow someone into your life. Those are reasons to wait. Yeah. Most borderlines are undiagnosed and untreated. I have a feeling there's a huge, huge percentage of those people that get treatment that don't get better because they're not committed. They use it as an outlet, an emotional crutch. They use it to manipulate their boyfriends and girlfriends and families. It could take 10 years in therapy to go into remission. So if you decide to date somebody who has untreated borderline personality disorder, you might be in for quite a ride. Ask questions, please. I make these videos so there's more information, so people do talk about them, about these disorders that I speak about, okay? So that we learn more and we're more informed and we understand better. We do this with compassion and empathy and understand mental illness and the stigma attached to it. And we also stay safe and healthy ourselves. Hold people accountable for their own mental illness and getting help. I'm going to tell you that borderline personality disorder is developed in childhood. It's left untreated in adulthood. The person most likely to get help with any mental illness is the one that has people in their life that won't tolerate their behaviors anymore. Most people that have mental illness and do not get help, that affects other people, are other people in their life, or let's say the people that do get help and do get better, it's the other people in their life that don't enable them to not get help. So many people with this disorder and many other disorders that never get help have bad, poor, sick, toxic, evil behaviors, and the people around them allow it. To commit to fixing this disorder, healing it, getting better ourselves, I would imagine be the hardest, biggest decision in someone's life. And these big decisions sometimes require loss. It's like drug addicts. Sometimes it takes everyone to leave that drug addict's life for that drug addict to finally get help and get off drugs. Or if they continue to take drugs, everybody continuing to remain in their life is enabling them. And that's just my opinion. I've heard many other different opinions. I've heard you never ever give up and leave a drug addict. Why? Why should I do all of this for someone else that wants to continue to get high every day? because you can stop and you can get help and you've got people supporting you. So it's much like borderline. We know there's help available, okay? As hard as and tough as it is, it doesn't mean that we ruin other people's lives. And there's a beautiful life waiting there for you, all of you, okay? Let me know what you guys think. Ask questions, okay? And add your own information, please. Argue with me. Tell me where I'm wrong, anything like that. And love yourself first, always, okay? Bye, guys.